Hello, everyone. Please welcome a very special guest on the Soul's Conquest. Jose is an award winning UI UX designer, creative entrepreneur, community builder, teacher, preacher, son, brother, and seeker, and none of those things. He is just a soul on a journey of discovery. Now, we interacted and connected in a very unique way. I was aware that Jose was an amazing mentor in the design community due to my brother Akai, and I had attended one of their Instagram lives. I was highly inspired by their conversation. So when my Soul Coach brand came into being, I knew that I wanted to share some of the posts with Jose. So I started to tag him in some of my posts, which eventually led him to follow me and vice versa. I was beyond thrilled and reached out to him via DMs and thanked him for following me, as it meant a lot to me as a beginner. He then went on to share some of these beautiful words, which can also be found on my Instagram, and it went something like this: there is no beginning and no end, just being. We are, and it is. The energy once open is eternal. The lessons to learn are already there. We are just remembering them. Knowledge is universal. Unlocking it is the key. So when it comes to beginners, I am one. I'm beginning every day with a new level of the game. The game that we call existence, we call life, we call love, we call being. The beauty behind these words is not lost, and I spent a lot of time rereading them and rethinking about them. We connected further over Instagram, and when I thought of launching my podcast, I knew that I had to have him over as a guest to speak about the beginner's journey, especially since this will be launched right after the first podcast episode, which is about beginning anew. So, yeah, let's get started. Welcome, Jose. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. So, Jose, what motivated you, or what was the trigger that led you to explore spirituality?
So first, I'm actually the son of a Christian minister, so
Right.
there was a lot of my background and upbringing that was in the church and in religion, not necessarily that I had a relationship, spiritually. It was just that was my upbringing. But I spent my 20s, as they say, exploring and hitting the fences in my career after college. And then my 30s, I built a company doing design, digital. Had an agency, and I pursued success. The thing that you're supposed to do: go to college, become successful. And I pursued that relentlessly, and had a lot of success, had a lot of failures, had a lot of challenges. But around the time I was 39, I just couldn't imagine. I mean, I was asking myself the question: is this it? Is this everything?
Yeah.
Like, all the things that our parents told us to do this and to do that, and to be a good person, etc. I did them all, and I still felt like there was something more. So
Yeah.
I really went and did all the things differently. I went and explored everything from the cult called Burning Man to Osho.
Yeah.
I went to India, to yoga, to meditation, to astrology, tarot, ayahuasca, psilocybin, LSD, which was one of the most amazing experiences.
Yeah.
But also really studying a lot of the major teachings around the ages, aside from what I had been taught.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like I call it a hummingbird.
Right.
I actually like explore a lot of little things here and there and understand a lot. Maybe not necessarily as deeply, but understand a lot. And then in the last 3 years, I've just kind of been going deeper and integrating a lot of my journey and digging just into like, But ultimately, the reason or the trigger was very simple. Is there more than what is there on the surface and what we've been told by our parents and by society and by education and by our culture? And that was really the trigger.
Oh, that's really cool, because the one thing that I love that you try to explore a lot of different things, like as you said, like a hummingbird, and that's really beautiful because You actually went out there, you tried a lot of things, you didn't stick to one thing, you didn't stick to one mindset. You tried to explore it all and find the one that you felt the most comfortable with. Is that the right interpretation for that?
Yeah. So fear, my personality and my is very like focused and certain,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of things that I looked at and I said, oh no, that's I'm afraid of that,
Yeah.
because I've been told not to do it, or because it looks different, or because, oh my god, ayahuasca is a drug,
Yeah.
or mushrooms are a drug, or whatever those things are. I really just leaned into anything that I was afraid of. I would try it.
Yeah. So kind of like Batman. Like, is that right to say? Like, how he went
Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, I hate bats. I'm afraid of them. So let me become Batman. That's the best way to overcome
exactly.
the fear. So
Mm-hmm.
cool. So okay. So what do you think is something that a beginner should keep in mind before they start something new?
It's a really good question, because I really do now understand and believe that there is no beginner. There's fear, like we're afraid of doing something new.
Yeah.
But remember that whether it's a hard skill or a soft skill, or whatever it is, a new career, a new idea, a new relationship, um, there is nothing new. I mean, we fear change, because usually for me, and what I've learned is that if you dig deeper into what change means, to us as a human, like for an example, if our parents told us to do this and to do that, and you see something new that you have to move into, and you're afraid of either failure, or you're afraid of being laughed at, or you're afraid of being mocked by your people, by your tribe. Ultimately, as a child, what you end up saying is like, oh my God, I'm going to die. If I
Yeah.
actually go away from what my people are saying, I won't be loved, and I won't be taken care of, and I'm going to starve to death.
Right.
So that's why animals survive in packs.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be you don't want to be the gazelle that
Yeah.
goes off over here and then gets eaten by a lion.
Yep.
You want to stick to what you know.
Yeah.
So that's why we're so afraid of doing new things. But in modern society, there is no fear. We can do new things because
Yeah.
we have the basics taken care of. We have a home, and we have families, and they'll love us no matter what we do. I
Yeah.
mean, that's relative. That might not be true, so
Yeah.
don't take that advice. But yeah,
No, most definitely, because that was something that I was going to ask you next, is that the fact that you said, having a tribe, having a core, people who you love and trust, and with whom you can experience these new things. It is really important when you're trying out these new things. You don't want someone to be out there telling you that, no, don't do this or don't do that. Like, if there is a proper reason behind it, there's proper logic behind it, other than just being for some sort of an ulterior motive, then it's something that becomes very demotivating. So as you were saying,
yeah.
it's really important to have people who are out there listening to you, who are out there to help you and support you no matter what, or no matter what your journey looks like. So yeah.
And the advice, I mean, that I would give anyone who is embarking on a new journey, and especially a new journey, you know, of whatever it might be. It could be professional, but
Yeah.
let's talk about it from a spirituality standpoint. Find others. I mean, my secret, is whatever you want to explore, don't do it alone.
Yeah.
Find other people that can encourage you, motivate you, and push you along. And today with social media, it's a global community.
Yeah.
So, finding you, listening to your post, understanding what you're doing, your brother, etc. You know, it's a community, right? And the important part is to connect really well and deeply with a few people that can support you on your journey, um,
Yeah.
and allow for that group, to your tribe. The 5 people around you are the most important people. So I have a note on my door. It says, "Your circle is your portal."
Yeah.
You know, the circle of people around you is your portal of support. It's what's going to help you move forward.
Yeah. I do want to ask you, like, if do you have any steps for someone who's beginning on the journey?
You don't, or you do?
No, like, do you have any steps for someone who's beginning out,
Got
like,
it.
who's starting out on a new journey? Do you have any steps they should
I
follow?
can only share from my experience,
Yeah.
or talk about kind of what my journey has been. I think the first step is the question, which is, what is it that is, you said it, you asked me, what's the trigger? Why are you seeking to start on a path?
Yeah.
And for the most part, men and women do it very differently. For young men, it doesn't come as early. It's something that happens over time. Women in their 20s and 30s will kind of go forward and seek, and you can call it wisdom, you can call it whatever you want, because I think it's important to distinguish the even the word spirituality, or because we have religion, we have faith, we have cultural kind of components of that. But if you're having some thoughts and some questions, or some of the triggers sometimes are things like depression, or not feeling satisfied, or anxiety, or coping with all of the things that are around you, your family, your friends. It might be a marriage, it might be a relationship. So for me, the first step is always like, what is it that you're looking for? And especially if it's looking for something outside of what has been prescribed, meaning go to school, get a job, make some money, etc. The first step is for me always defining the why. Why are you looking for it? And what ultimately do you want to see kind of as the end state? And for me, I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and it was contentment, peace of mind, and the word contentment, meaning being happy with what you have and where you are, and peace of mind, which is just not having like all of the thoughts, anxieties, and things that worry you, especially about like things like death, or things like, what is the meaning of my life? Why am I here? For the most part, those things will trigger our behavior in a way that we're either conscious or unconscious of it. Meaning, why do we do the things that we do? We're like machines. We're like automatic. Like, somebody says something, you're like, ah! Or like, this job interview didn't go well, so you're like, oh, I'm depressed, my job interview didn't go well. Or I don't have any money, what do I do? Like, and then you feel a certain way, and then you're like figuring it out and rushing and like, yes, please, let's try to figure this out. So if you can figure out the why, what is the thing that's driving you or motivating you to seek this new thing, let's call it, you want to, explore spirituality. And then the second part is like, what is this desired state that you want to achieve, whether it's contentment, peace, success, abundance, etc. And who are the people? So those three things: why, what is the state that you want to accomplish? You can call that a goal, but goals are kind of interesting. I won't call it a goal. I'll call it like an end state that you want to get to. And then who are the people that you want to travel with? Who are the people that you want to explore with? Who are the people that you like? Who are the people that you feel good with? Who are the people that you feel safe with? So those three things to me are the most important. Why, what end state, are you trying to achieve, and who you want to do it with?
That's beautiful. And there is this one thing that I keep seeing your Instagram stories, and you keep going to art galleries and stuff like that. You go on long rides with your friends. And that's such a beautiful thing to do, because that's something that I visualize myself doing in the future. Like, I love being with like-minded people who can understand and who would like to challenge me, not only like understand and not be a yes man, but someone who can challenge my perceptions in life And that's something that I am craving for, and I'm so glad that you have found that with a set of people. One second, I think my this thing stopped. Hold on. Can you see me, or is my
Yeah,
video
I can
connected?
see you. I can see you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, now it's dark.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Technology and
we'll
me.
get to we'll get through it. It's part of the journey.
Yeah. So, to be honest, that's one thing that I really like about you, that you guys are actually going out there and just doing it. Just being free and being free with the people you love and enjoy. Okay, so yeah,
There
I
you
got,
go. Your video's back.
yeah. It's a different camera, so you can see a lot of chaos beyond me because, behind me,
You
because,
can you can see chaos here. I mean, my house is getting clean. It's a day. It's Christmas is coming.
yeah.
It's life. Life is life. I think we
Yeah.
should be very open and honest with the chaos around us and where we
So,
are. Because on the internet, everybody's perfect, but
yeah.
there's no
Yeah, there's no perfection. There's beauty in imperfection. Wait, did I say that?
imperfection.
Yeah.
Wabi-Sabi in the Japanese. But you were saying that you like observing the freedom,
Yeah.
etc. But
Yeah, that's
go
one
ahead.
thing that, like, that's something that I wish to enjoy with my family. Like, I dream of going to all these places that I want to visit. And for me, my family, that's my mom and my brother, we vibe at a very similar level. So, like, when we have discussions, they are long and elaborate, and sometimes we challenge our perceptions. And so I want to do the same thing with not only my family, but also a few close friends that, visiting all these places that I want to visit in life, learning about history. Like, I love architecture and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
creative
your
soul.
friends, you're a creative soul, and I can see that in your
Yeah.
brother too.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say find your tribe, your friends, and the people around you, online and otherwise,
Yeah.
are really the impetus for that. So I've been lucky, and obviously I've been on the earth for a long time.
Yeah.
But you can really do it. It's a you have to broadcast your values. Like, this
Yeah.
is who I am. I'm a creative person. I do this. I'm looking for this. I
Yeah.
think if you study the art of how people write dating profiles online, that's a really good place. to
Yeah.
say, I am, and I am looking for. That's not a bad practice. You should always be broadcasting. Hey, I'm this person, and
Yeah.
what you wear, what you say, your social media, what your tattoos might be, whatever it is. Well, your jewelry, it all broadcasts what type of person you are,
Yeah.
and then you want to attract that. So fashion, food, culture, all of those things are part of like life,
Yeah.
and they're part of like what makes you able to attract the people around you that you want to be with.
Yep. And that's so beautiful because I wrote a post on this on my Instagram where I was telling that, when you want to achieve something, like, if you want to achieve a end result, just speak it out loud, tell it to your friends and family, because the more you do that, the more you attract it. But not only that, because when people are aware of what you're looking for, when the universe is aware of what you're looking for, you will attract that. And that's one thing that I feel has helped me a lot, because when I was starting the soul code journey, I was quite unaware. Like, I was like, should I be doing this or should I not be doing this? Because in general, I'm a very anxious person, but something felt right about this and I wanted to give it a go. And there were these few people around me, my family and a few close friends, and they were like, just go for it, like, don't freak out about anything, just go for it. And things started to work out. So I think that's quite similar to what you were saying, that broadcast what you want to achieve, and probably things will fall into place over
Well,
time.
not probably. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Falling into place, everything is relative. So if you look
Yeah.
at the concept of quantum, reality or quantum
Yeah.
physics, or
Yeah.
you know, that something can be here and it could be here at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's crazy, and it's science.
Yeah.
But the real truth is that everything. So my advice in general, aside from like broadcast your values, why are you doing it? What is your end state, and who are the people that you want to do it with? The mindset has to be really very clear, or not clear, but everything is in the mind.
Yeah.
Can I do it? If you say no, you can't.
Yeah.
If your family says no, that's different because that's your family saying it from the outside or your
Yeah.
friend. So then there's the issue of, well, let's be realistic. You know, if you're here, you can't jump to over here in an
Yeah.
instant. And you're like, of course not, because you still have to deal with the physical realm and the body and like
Yep.
reality of your position. I
Yeah.
call it relative position. So if I'm here and my goal is here, you know, I can't, you know, sometimes, and here in the middle, there's like this big obstacle. I
Yeah.
can't like jump over here because I'm not a wizard or a magician. I have to go over the obstacle, right? And the obstacle is ultimately the way, which is the title of the book. So the question becomes, okay, how can I get here?
Yeah.
And then when you go, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, and this, great. But for me, you know, I'm a Puerto Rican and Dominican kid, you know, from a lower middle class American kind of family. My only like luck has been that I got to come to the States early and I got to go to a very good art school all out of sheer will. Because I had something in my 20s that I wish I still had, and you have to regain it over and over again, which was I had absolutely no doubt about whatever it was that I was doing in the direction that I was going in. Like no doubt, absolute faith. Okay, I want to go to the most expensive art school possible. I'm not going to question how I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take the next step and I'm going to move to the city. And then I'm going to do the next step and I'm going to like, you know, take night classes and I'm going to do the next step. And I'm going to like, so, you know, whether you're in Latin America, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in America, whether you're in India, whether you're in Africa, here's the truth. You have the dang internet.
Yeah.
And you can do almost anything because now people can work globally and they can be part of anything. They can build anything. So every year, every day is a new beginning. And the question is, do you believe that you can? And are you willing to take the steps and play the game of the mind, which is, you know, staying sufficiently like calm to just take one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Anyway.
Yeah, that's beautiful, you know, because I keep telling some of the people that I speak with on my sessions that you can't jump, like, you know, imagine your goal where you are right now and what your end result, what do you want it to be. Imagine it as like, you know, you're animating a blob moving from point A to point B. When you just put the point A and point B, it won't flow smoothly. Like anyone with, you know, even a little bit of playing around with those flip books, even they are aware that you can't just have point A.
You have to have frames in between.
Yeah. So you need to show the different levels for it to flow smoothly, and that's one thing that people need to realize, that you know what you want your destination to be, but you're not aware of the journey, and that's completely all right. You can take one step ahead and one step ahead, and if things don't work, you can take another step, which can be like, you are going through a split in the road and then reaching to the same destination. And there's no, like, people fear when things don't go their way, when their plans don't work out. But if your will to reach a particular destination is like, it's there, if you have that mindset, as you said, then I think when you reach that goal, you will end up reaching that goal irrespective of the different directions that you had to go. If things didn't go your way, the different ways that you had to go, I feel like, you'll reach there.
There is a hack, and there is a hack that you can access even earlier than when you have reached success. So, Osho, who I love, had a very famous quote where he said, "Enlightenment is a rich man's sport," because nobody looks for it until, you now have all your material things taken care of. So, there's the story of a man who goes, when he's in his 20s, to a Buddhist temple, and he knocks on the door and he's like, "Let me in, I want to be enlightened." And the monks are like, "Nah, come back later, in 10 years. And he comes back in his 30s and he knocks on the door, "Let me in, I want to be enlightened." And he's like, come back later in another 10 years. And he's like, and he comes back in 10 years and he's now in his 40s, "Let me in, I want to get in." And come back later in 10 years. And he comes back again, and at this point he's like, "Oh, come on, man.
Just let me in.
Let me in. I just want to be enlightened." And they're like, "Okay, you're ready. Go to New York City." Which the joke is like, okay,
Yeah.
now you're in your 50s, like, can you survive New York City?
Yeah.
And the reason why I share that story is because the hack that I'm mentioning is, you have point A and point B, and the truth is that, if you can unlock, because part of the real work to get from point A to point B is less about the work you have to do and the fear you have to overcome to really like manifest your goals.
Yeah.
The art of manifestation ultimately is the ability to let go of and shed both fear, but the blockages that are actually not allowing you to get there. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
As a Latino and as a person who, though, most people might not seem or look or see this, a lot of the blocks that I have come from like mental models of colonialism. Like, I am supposed to be servant to a master. I am supposed to be in this position in life. A person with my name, I don't see in a lot of the leadership positions that I was able to kind of like, access as a young man. For somebody in Latin America or somebody in India, they might say, well, I can't do business with, an American, or an American company, or et cetera, et cetera. But those things are proven to be untrue because there's tons of people freelancing globally, going back to my other kind of work, which is within the design world. So those blocks, you have to be aware of. Where is that energy coming from? Whose energy it is, and do you own it? So for an example, for me to say, if I am conscious that one of the blocks that I have to manifesting the things that I want to do is that in my mind, I'm not worthy of it because as a person of Latin American descent, that's not my place. I believe that because of my heritage and because of the ancestry of it all, then I'm not going to be able to move forward and do those things because the block is in my mind. My mind is saying, I am not worthy. I shouldn't be. I don't deserve. I can't. So you have to be aware enough of what those thoughts are, where they're coming from. And that means that you have to explore yourself and be introspective and talk to your family and talk to your cultures and read and be curious about the psychological reasons that you might behave the way you behave. Therapists do that and they try to uncover the reasons why somebody might have this issue or this feeling. But if you can really work and like learn at a very young age to understand your own self, like the saying goes, to your own self be true, it really helps you when you are on the road to identify, okay, that wall that I have to jump through is more of a wall made out of this. And then how do I deprogram those thoughts? So for example, in me acknowledging, okay, a lot of my thoughts of not being worthy or of not being enough to do what I want to accomplish and what I want to manifest come from my heritage. So let me talk to my grandfather. Let me hear the stories of who my ancestors were. Let me talk to my grandmother. And then let me talk on my father's side to my uncles because my grandfather was dead. And he told me some amazing stories. And I'm like, oh, now I understand why I am the person I am. Now I understand why I feel this way. And it's not like, well, you didn't know your great-grandfather, but all of the energy of your ancestry transfers over, and some people think it goes in your DNA, but it transfers over in the behavior of your father and the behavior of your mother. They echo and forward the energy of their fathers and their mothers, and who moved the energy forward of their fathers and their mothers. So all that generational energy is going forward, and you are part of that, but you might not own it. So you have to be, like they say, Christians say, you have to be born again as a child and shed all those things in order to be able to move forward. So going back to the beginning, to the quote, Osho said, enlightenment is a rich man's sport. If you want to be rich, if you want to be successful, if you want to be abundant, you have to go into the state of relaxation and, equanimity and emotional, like Zen, let's call it Zen. You have to be a Zen master. So spirituality, and as a young person, really seeking to understand their mind through meditation, through study, through reflection, through friendships, through yoga, through whatever. I mean, I advocate any vehicle and any tool. Go to church, whether you're a Christian, a Hindu, a Buddhist, a yogi, it doesn't matter. Everyone's looking for the same thing,
Yeah.
which is, to be in our bodies and to be happy and to be calm and to be peaceful. And, everything else, like the mysteries of the universe, where do we go and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Fine. But just the day-to-day success
Yeah.
and abundance, it's hard enough, right?
Yeah.
But if you seek spiritually, and you can, as you grow older, begin to combine those lessons and be wise beyond your years earlier, you'll be able to create and to do anything. And luckily, you'll get to a point where you go, well, none of this is important.
Yeah.
And you get to live a happy life.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. And that's one thing that, I was, that relates to the next question that I have, which is, do you believe that 2021 can be the year of new beginnings? And I think you have answered bits and pieces of it over the previous questions, but do you want to add anything more to it?
Yeah, look, 2020 was a very difficult year. And it's also astrologically, it's the first time for the next 200 years we're going to be in Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. What does that mean? Elementally, we've been in a very material realm, over the last several hundred years, the earth realm. So money and building and, progress and all these kind of things. But in order to really build a new world, we need to kind of transcend that and become, Aquarius is the most spiritual of the elemental kind of signs of the zodiac, if you believe in any of that, which is questionable scientifically. But let's just say, we're entering a new time. And it's a new time of ideas. It's a new time of technology. It's a new time that, because of the pandemic globally, here we are connecting digitally, questioning the reality of society, questioning what's important to us, our friends, our family. So 2021 is really an amazing year. Every year is an amazing year, but now we have much more visibility. 2020 gave us clarity of who people are, what the world is, where we're at, and ultimately, I really believe that one of the things about new beginnings is who's going to lead us in the future, who's going to lead us forward. You are, your brother, your generation. You're in charge of what happens in Hyperweb. You're in charge of what happens in your world.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's such a nice thing, because I feel like for me, I feel like behind every bad news there is something that is much more, that is better. There is a better opportunity that arises in every crisis. And that's me saying from after healing from very bad things, very bad trauma. And even after that, I still feel like there are some good things that happen after something goes bad. So I feel like for me that is one of the main reasons why I think 2021 can be a great thing, because as you said, we have learned so much. We are connecting across the oceans at different time zones. I'm in a different day, you're in a different day. And that's such a amazing and mysterious and mind shocking kind of a thing that I still can't wrap my head around, because it's something that it's out of our minds league. Sometimes I feel like, oh my god.
It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But here's something interesting, and I don't want to sidestep us into something. The people who created, there's a quote in Steve Jobs' biography by Walter Isaacson. The big one that came out. So the story is it's really interesting. And here's the point of the story. We're talking about how magical it is that we're connecting across time zones and across the world, through technology. But in the Walter Isaacson biography of Steve Jobs, he mentioned that, those guys that were going to the Homebrew Computer Club and they were doing all that work, that they knew that when they connected all of the computers together, that it would create a whole new consciousness, a global kind of connection. And it's happening, both the good and the bad. meaning like all the questions of whether social media is good in the United States or bad, or whether what's doing to our minds. I personally, I understand the challenging parts and the difficult parts because I have to deal with them all the time. You know, peace of mind. You know, fear of missing out. Like watching people on Instagram, you're like, oh, I wish I was in the Bahamas, like you know, having some
Yeah.
like doing that. What am I doing? My life is horrible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're getting to connect and we're getting to share and we're getting to learn and we're getting to grow and we're getting to experience things outside of the realm of possibility, you know,
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago. So especially this generation who's native and growing. And, you know, some
Yeah.
people in my generation are like, you can't be an Instagram, you know, spiritual influencer. And I'm like,
Yeah.
watch them, you know,
Watch.
because watch them do it. I love to just like be the guy in a group of my friends or
Yeah.
most of my friends are a lot younger than me, but in a group
Yeah.
of people my age who are like, like, you know,
Yeah.
you can't become an Instagram influencer. And I'm like, yes,
You
you
never
can.
know.
You no, it's not you never know. Yes,
Yeah.
you can. If you figure it out and you figure out the mechanics and you have the message and you have the content and you connect and you do the work yourself.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something that I haven't really shared with anybody. My spiritual
Yeah.
journey is connected directly to when I started being on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
7 years ago, because I am talking to people all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I'm obnoxious and I'm not very self-aware. I'm just putting forward what I want to do. But the
Yeah.
more I did it and the more I used my user experience tools to define who my users were and to
Yeah.
define what they needed and to give them the message to like really focus it, the more I had that feedback loop, the more I'm like realizing, wait a minute. And then the more I got to feel my emotions and flow with all the things and the reality that you were forming around you. And I realized, oh my God, the
Yeah.
loop that I'm opening in this portal that's a little tiny screen
Yeah, yeah.
that is, you know, going out to the world and I'm saying things and then people are commenting and it's creating all this energy. This
Yeah.
thing is like real. And then you start asking yourself the question, because when you have thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people looking at you and judging you and like feel, you either do one of two things. One, you create a persona and a character
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
hide behind so that you
Yeah.
can, hey, yeah, well, hi guys, what's up? I'm like, or
Yeah.
if you want to be real and be comfortable and be authentic and
Yeah.
like just be real on
Yeah.
camera and on content and all those things, then you have to do the work. You
Yeah.
actually have to strip all of those things
Those
away.
layers. Yeah.
Those layers. So Enlightenment through YouTube is the title of my book.
That's wonderful. When will it be coming out? Like, are you in the
No, that was
process
a
of
joke.
editing?
That was all a joke.
Oh no, come on! Like, I would love to read it. I would love to read it.
Well, Enlightenment through YouTube would be a funny ass book. But yes, it being online and this media loop has been part of my journey and part of what I've been looking for. It's like, who am I and how do I become, you know, untethered, uncorked, disconnected from, you know, most people can see it from the outside and go, that guy's crazy. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so what is something that you recently embraced about yourself? And this is again somewhat connecting to your previous answer. So would you like to add something onto it?
Something that I recently embraced about myself.
Yeah.
Good question.
Thanks.
Honestly, it's like I am who I am. There is no like, oh, I'm not like this person, or I could be better here, I could be better there. Look, I am who I am, and I am super imperfect, and I struggle with so many things, and you know, my personality is a certain way, and you know, that of embracing myself, but also of knowing that I can actually transform myself into anything I want to be or who I want to be by not having any fear of like experimenting, testing things on, like, oh, I'm going to test this out. I'm going to grow out my hair long. I'm going to like, you know, do this. All of those things, you know, at the end, acceptance and love of yourself, super powerful. And it's taken me a long time. And it's a practice every day. Every day is a new start.
That's beautiful. And you know, I am loving the energy of loving yourself for who you are, because that is so so important. And as you were saying, when you are out there, when you are someone who people look up to, you either create a persona or you be your true self. And I feel like when you are being your true self, it is hard work, not gonna lie. But when you are being your true self, it is a confirmation, it's a daily confirmation kind of thing. When every time someone connects with you, it's so so real, and you can feel yourself kind of being acknowledged and accepted for who you are, and that acts like a little bit of extra motivation for you to not hide behind those layers.
Imagine living every day authentically and real. Imagine every
Yeah.
day being in love, meaning like hello to the person at the coffee shop, to the
Yeah.
person that is selling you some food on the street, or a shop, or like who comes to visit you, or a friend, or a family,
Yeah.
or a relative, and you just being there and being present for them, and even in the momentary like second or 2 minutes of like an interaction with someone. It's beautiful. That's heaven, when you have the
Yeah.
ability to flow through life in that level of ease with everybody around you.
Yeah, that's beautiful for sure. So I wanted to ask you one question before we, actually a couple of questions. How do you see your spiritual work influencing your work? Like, are there any correlations between them?
Yeah, that's a really difficult question, because I've struggled so much
Yeah.
with the journey of the last 3 years, and honestly, or the last 6 years. And I had a partner, and I was on a YouTube channel, and it just hit 1 million subscribers recently, and it's all about work, and it's about doing stuff, and it's about, and I was trying to figure out like what the hell am I looking for? Like,
Yeah.
why didn't I sync with that partner?
Yeah.
Why did this not work out for me the way that I
Yeah.
wanted it to work? And it was devastating. I thought it was just like a failure. But then I had the opportunity, because of it, to go search, to go do whatever I wanted to do. I didn't have to, I did a licensing deal on my product. I had enough revenue every month to like be free to go
Yeah.
get on a plane and go wherever, go to Osho. Like, I had
Yeah.
a friend who we were at a retreat here in California, and spa and hot baths, and we were just having a good
Yeah.
time, and or like a very peaceful time. And he was also a seeker,
Yeah.
and he's like, let's go to Osho. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's do that. I was thinking like in 6 months or 3 months, plan it
Yeah.
out. He's like,
Yeah.
Wednesday.
No.
So Wednesday, we were on a plane to Mumbai, and
Yeah.
by Thursday, we were in Osho, and it was amazing, right? So all of the things that I've learned about self-care and about your spiritual routines, whether it's meditation, whether it's relaxation, dance is probably one of the most. That's one of the things that I miss the most.
Yeah.
Walks, exercise, whatever that might be. In order to be really successful in work,
Yeah.
if you look at masters, people who have succeeded, you will note that the things that are luxury to them, like relaxation, like massages, like meditation, like practice, like isolation, whatever those things are there to master living and master life. You're a master of life. So I used to believe that it was all about work, and that gave you success so that you can then have the luxuries of life. And I'm like, no, it's backwards. You have to have the luxuries of life so that you can have a great work life.
Yeah.
And we're sold this kind of like lie that you need to work hard, you need to do this. Those are the voices of the masters who colonized you, telling you to work hard and to be in this position, while they're over there at the spa, like having a really good time.
Yeah.
So for me, the way that work has been influenced by my spiritual journey is, can I bring the practices of being, connected, of being present, of being mindful, of being, to work? And that's what I'm doing now with the system, which is, even though it's kind of hidden in it, we're making it more explicit, where you start with your values and your purpose, instead of starting with like, how much money am I going to make? You start with your essence and who your co-creators are,
Yeah.
your brand and your users, and
Yep.
and your objectives and your goals, etc. So can we make, in this new 2021, in this new era of Aquarius and Libra and Gemini, in this new world that we need to create, can we combine all of the truths? Remember, it's not religious truths. It's
Yeah.
not faith. It's not certainty. It's not Jesus. It's not Krishna. It's not Buddha. It's not any of those things. It's simply that we can connect and we can live and create in harmony
Yeah.
completely with the whole. And by the whole, I mean like the planet, the people, all of those things. And unfortunately, because the 20th century and because of the past was created under an imperative of like conquest, extraction, and more for me, it's created a very unfortunate, and destructive world. The legacy of colonialism by the West, the legacy of, let's just say it for what it is, of the white man. I'm not gonna skirt around
Sugarcoat it. Yeah.
Yeah, is one of utter kind of how would I say it? It's been a legacy of the best way I can explain it is, there's a story in the Bible when Lucifer or Satan came to Jesus and tempted him and showed him the world and said, all of this is yours if you bow down to me, which is really the way we've lived all these years, which is like, all of this is yours if you all bow down to me, is the way that culture, society, works. The incentive for somebody to succeed in a professional setting is to have more, So if you think about it, and you think about the lesson that was being imparted by Christianity, is that materialism and having more and conquest and all the physical things of the world are the price for servitude. So if you opt for that, you become a servant, and very few people are free who can be servants. And I don't know how I got there from the spiritual and work. Oh, that if we bring spirituality to work, if we bring spirituality to work, it will fundamentally change the nature of work. It will fundamentally change the incentives. It will fundamentally change how we behave towards each other. It will bring compassion. It will bring love. It will bring, like, you know what? Let's stop designing all this damn packaging. I just got back from IKEA because I'm building my place, and I'm like, there's more cardboard than Amazon and orders, and like, oh my God, we are going to destroy the planet unless we redesign all this stuff. And the only way to do that is to bring spirituality to work. So you are doing the work that's the most important, and your brother is doing the other side of the work, and bringing those things together is the future.
That's nice. That's really nice because, we'll be launching my brand soon. So he is the one who's working on my brand right now. So for the Soul Coach thing. And I just wanted to share it because we'll be launching it like in a few days or so. And it essentially is a lighthouse that's breaking the walls open with the light. And it's a beautiful design that he worked on. And like the first design that he created was a very complex thing. And I loved it. But I also wanted it to be something which, people can just look at it and be like, okay, this is something that, I can connect to instantly. And so he was such a sweetheart to just, do it according to what my vision was. And we worked together on it. And, the brand is like so beautiful because it relates. It's out there and I can relate to it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people who are similar to me. Because at the end of the day, I want to show the fact that, when you have questions in life, you don't have to go around asking for help from everyone. Sometimes the answer is within yourself. And if you understand your soul, if you understand the power that you contain within yourself, then most of the answers that you're looking for will come from within. When you are facing a difficulty, it's time to hit pause, just relax, listen to yourself, and yeah, I mean, things will work out eventually. If not, like, the world is our oyster, we have internet. Almost everything is available on the internet, you're
It's
just
on
a Google search
Google.
away.
How do I
Yeah,
become enlightened? Oh, well, there you go. There's my
yeah.
self-care routine. How
Yeah,
do I? And I want to re-emphasize this because I don't want it to be missed by the people that are
yeah,
listening, or by, you know, by yourself and by your brother.
yeah,
You are, and the beacon. I love the metaphor of the lighthouse breaking through the walls in the darkness. You
yeah,
know, every single individual, every single person, with the power that is being given to us by technology. Like, just
yeah,
think about it. Like, you can reach a global audience, you can
yeah,
reach across cultures, you can share knowledge, share life, share love, whatever you want to share,
yeah,
um, across the board. So what the choice is of what you choose to say, what you choose to do with your time, what you choose to build, in this world. Stop fighting. Stop fight.
yeah,
This was from a show I'm watching on Amazon Prime,
yeah.
called The Expanse, and it's a space show. Super good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um, and one of the characters tells a younger character, "Stop fighting and start building."
yeah,
There's a little bit of fight and a little bit of building that has to happen. And the fight is, you don't want to build the same old system. You want to build
yeah.
new, right?
Something new, yeah.
You want to build something new. Um, I believe very, very much deeply in my soul that you are the future, that your brother is the future, that every single individual, every single one of us who's choosing to move forward and to be relentless and like just putting it forward. Because the number one thing, and people ask me this all the time, how do you make something work online? How do you make,
Yeah,
your podcast, or you have to be relentless, and you have to learn. You have to like put it out, learn, put it out, learn, put it
yeah,
out, learn, adjust,
yeah,
define who you want to touch, define,
yeah,
like, you have to do all this work to connect the dots, because
yeah,
it's all very ephemeral. It is magic. It is close to magic if you think about it, because you're wielding only energy and visuals and image and logos and type and your identity and your words and content,
yeah.
and like, it is literally Hogwarts School of Magic.
Yeah, most definitely, yeah.
Most definitely. So being able to harness energy, being able to harness your routines, being able to take care of yourself, being able to live. So what I love about Instagram and, enlightenment through Instagram is that you're sitting here watching all these people going to yoga retreats and sharing their
Yeah,
self-care routines, and like, I'm using this essential oil, and I'm using this and crystals, and you're like, okay, I'm going to try all this kind of stuff
yeah,
as their job, because ultimately they make money from it, right? Or they build a business around it.
yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah.
So there's a futurist called Alvin Toffler, and he wrote a
Mm-hmm.
book called Future Shock. And he basically said this, and this is an insight into what you're about to build and what you're building. And this has
Yeah,
been what's been driving me for these years, because you read the book, and it was written like
yeah,
in the 80s. And he basically says that in the future, because we have consumption, meaning you go to the supermarket and you buy food,
yeah,
or you go buy some furniture over here, and production, like before, those things were made by the guy down the street,
yeah,
uh, who made your furniture, or who
right,
was the farmer, and
right,
they had a lot of pride and purpose in making your stuff that you would then buy and give them whatever in exchange, either money or gold or a cap.
yeah,
So here now we are at the place where we've separated production and consumption and capitalist culture.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
have no meaning. You go to work and you like program some code and you do some, whatever,
yeah,
and then you go home, and like, so your work is not giving you
yeah,
meaning in life.
yeah,
And that would create an existential vacuum in human beings. And
yeah,
you see it in anxiety, you see it in depression, you see it in a lot of the different things that we're seeing today. But he said the business of the future, the biggest business in the future, was going to be personal development and transformation, because of what the West has caused. So
yeah,
I'm like, okay, that's
yeah.
fascinating. So yeah, you're building the business of the future.
Thanks, man. That's definitely motivational coming from you, because as I said, you are one of my major inspirations. Because when I was listening to your live with Arkai, I was just like, damn, I want to do something like this in the future, where I can incorporate spirituality into my daily life. Like, the thing is, all this knowledge, we already had it. My dad was like a really huge fan of Osho, so we have all these books, collections of books that are still unopened, because he had it in Hindi and in English both. And like, we always had all this knowledge, but we didn't. Oh wow. I'm gonna read that now. I'm
No, no, you don't
definitely
have to
gonna
read
read
it.
it.
This is just first in the morning. But continue, love. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah.
Please continue. You
Nice.
have all this knowledge. You have all these books in Hindi. Your dad is a big fan of Osho.
Yep. Yeah. So we I always had all this knowledge, but I never utilized it. And then when I listened to that live of yours with Akai, I was just like, damn, this probably is a sign that I got to do something around this, because I was so motivated when I heard that. When I heard that how much spirituality affects you in your life, it's like I got to do something around this. And that's essentially one of the things that came, that helped me build the Soul Coach brand that I'm building right now. And I was just like, damn, super impressed. So when I hear it from you that it it can be the thing of the future, I'm like, wow. Validation achieved.
No, I mean, it makes me feel really good. It makes me feel amazing that you're doing it. And we should read a little bit of Osho just to
Yeah.
share with other people.
Sure.
This is day 16. But this is really like what we're talking about right now. The
Yeah.
question of work and bringing the whole self to. This is a daily like morning reader, which I do after my meditation practice. Be utterly surrendered. And I loved how he talked, because he was like so precise,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
slow. Be
Yeah.
utterly surrendered to existence. No more fight, no more conflict, no more private goals of your own. Let the whole possess you, the whole. Let the
Yeah.
whole guide you. Then wherever it takes you is good, and whatsoever it makes of you is good. Man alone cannot be right. He will only do wrong. Oh, man alone cannot do right. He will only do wrong. Right happens only when man allows existence to function through him. So allow existence to function through you. Trust. If this whole universe is going so beautifully, why can't it take care of you? Why should you be worried, anxious about yourself? No rose bush is worried. No bird, no animal, no star sits there and goes like, "Oh my God, this is horrible." Like I don't know. Do you think we're gonna? I'm adding that to it.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no.
That's my interpretation. It just the stupid human mind that creates so many worries, and the simple reason is it thinks it is separate. Naturally, if you are separate, then all the worry is yours. If you're not separate, the whole will take care. So beautiful. Some people that are more logical are like, "Oh, what does that mean? The whole."
Yeah.
It just means that if you do things together and in harmony with others and with all the things around you, things work out. If you're fighting, or if you think you're separate, or that you think you're another instance of reality, and that individualism that we teach in Westernization, that you've been taught by the British, that we never had in tribes. If you go into a tribe of native people in the Americas, or if you go in a tribe of, in the past, people were together. It was so beautiful. It was such harmony. The West, and like what I said, the legacy of the white man, has created the separation. And Osho, obviously, the Bible says the same thing. The Bible says, why would the bird fall out of the sky? He doesn't worry about that. He trusts it.
Yeah.
He can do it. So anyway, beautiful. Osho is beautiful.
Yes, Osho is beautiful, most definitely, because I have learned so much from him. And my dad actually met Osho, and I think he met him. And this is a story told by my mom that he went and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna give up on life, and I just wanna, I wanna be with you. I wanna be in the camp. And he was like, yeah, no, go back. And this was before he met mom. And, he was like, no, you have to go back because there are a lot of things and a lot of people that need you. And that, in one way or another, it aligned with his goal, because things, what he hadn't planned started to work. Things that weren't going right were suddenly going right. And I think that was a very beautiful experience for him. I've never heard this story from him, but like I've heard a lot about Osho from him. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
We got off topic. We got into
We got
Osho
off topic, but yeah.
This is good. This is
No,
good.
this is good. I mean, it's completely all right. People will be getting a lot of new perspectives and yeah, a lot of background about both of us, I think. Because yeah, Osho has been a big part of our life. So whatever. Yeah. So okay, I think that kind of rounds up all the questions that I had for you. And I just wanted to say thank you from from the bottom of my heart for being here, because it was such a beautiful experience talking with you. And I would love to connect and just keep talking about all the stuff in your free time and in my free time. I definitely clear up my schedule for you anytime. All you gotta
I'm
do is
here.
ask.
Anytime you need me, anytime we can figure out the time differences because that's very
For sure, for sure, for sure.
I'm here and we can read Osho and we can share and say hello to your brother and
Yep.
say thank you to your dad and to your mom for making
Yep.
such an amazing woman, such a Leo queen.
Thank
You are a queen, and don't forget that. So I look
Yep.
forward to seeing the podcast and to seeing you share. And remember that at the end, it's up to you. It's up to you.
Yep.
This is it. There's no practice. Like we have to change the world. We have to really
Yep.
turn it around.
Yep.
So.
I'll try my best as a queen to do that as much as I can. Yep.
That's all we can do.
And yeah, all we can do. I would love to have you over again on this podcast sometime in the future, like maybe in season 2 or season 3. I'm still figuring that out. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jose.
All right.
And
lots of love.
you too.